What's going on, people? Welcome back to another live stream. Thank you for making it another day. If you haven't, here we are. Um, with all the events going on in the world, mass shootings, stabbings, killings, earthquakes, hurricanes, stuff like that, it causes me to wonder about what's important. The important things in life, the things that really matter. Some people get caught up in the drama, especially here on YouTube. Folks is concerned with the trolling and all kind of other stuff that goes down online, and that has its place. But I think about like I said, the things that really matter in life. About what messages am I sending out to the world? You know, how do you interact with people really, truly? Am I a positive person? Am I giving off a negative vibe? Am I being judgmental? Am I making the world, a better place, a worse place? Am I inspiring people? Am I discouraging people? Am I provoking people? Things of that nature. I'm not always perfect, but just with the recent events that's going on in the world, not just here in the U.S., but all across the world with sectarian violence, political squabbles, terrorism, mass shootings, things like that. It causes me to worry about, or not worry about, but to think about the things that are most important in life. And I think some of those things are how we treat each other. It's not always easy to deal with people. It's not always easy to deal with different personalities and different ideologies, philosophies in life and stuff like that. You know, it can be challenging to get along with people, especially in this world, where people have different points of views on things, and we're very passionate about what we believe, or what life we subscribe to, what slice of life. I just sit down and I think sometimes I try to reflect on what really matters and where I should be. Hey, Christine, thank you for joining the live stream. You know, I mean, because so many times we can get lost in things that really don't matter. We get lost in petty beefs and squabbles about things that are really going nowhere. Getting caught up in gossip and envy and jealousy and hatred and stuff like that. But sometimes I think what are folks actually focused on? Treating each other with decency and civility and stuff like that. I know it's not always going to happen. Maybe it'll take a tragedy for people to step back and start seeing each other and seeing things for what it really is. But the reality is, we live in a world of opposites. We live in a world full of divisions. Full of hatred and stuff like that. I mean, there are good people out in the world. There are good people out there trying to do things, or people out there trying to do positive things and be uplifting and upbuilding and stuff like that. But sometimes things just happen, and it reminds you of the ugliness of humanity at times. And how much it is necessary that we try to appeal to our better nature. Try to lift each other up and inspire each other, and push each other forward, and see past our differences. But sometimes it's not easy, because there are folks out there who want to be negative. There are folks out there who prefer the division, who prefer the racism, who prefer the hatred. There are folks out there who take pride and joy in seeing other folks, fall down, or seeing other folks fail, seeing other folks hurt. And I mean, it's sad. It's sad, but that still doesn't deter me. It still doesn't stop me from pushing forward and fighting for the better. It's a challenge, because sometimes in this world, with some of the things that go on, it can make you lose your intensity. It can, discourage you a little bit, with just some of the negativity that you see. You could turn on your television, for those that watch television, or you could turn on your online, and you can see various things out there. That's why I get from a lot of people sometimes. They say I don't even watch the news, because it's a whole bunch of negativity or whatnot. But I still say fight for the positive, fight for what matters. Fight to love your family. Fight to be a positive influence in life if possible. As much as possible. As crazy as this world is, I still say, what, there's still hope in humanity. There's still hope in the future, in us, in a better way. You know, I'm not going to be unrealistic and say it's all sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. You know, it's really not. But, you know, if you search within yourself, if you fight for, you know, what's right, you know, as much as is in you, you never know. You definitely never know. You know, but I just think about things that are important, you know, about how we treat each other. Those are things of how we, you know, just being decency, you know, towards each other. It's like treat people as, you know, the way you would want to be treated. Hopefully you want to be treated good. You know what I mean? And in each day, you know, you just try to survive and get through it, and you know, I don't know, just it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I really don't know how to. I really don't know how to put this. It's just there's just so much in this world that's not important. There's just so much. It's so much vainness. There's so many things that are just not worth. You know, not worth my time. I don't know about you. It's not worth my time. Sometimes it's bad associations. Sometimes it's negative thoughts. You know, sometimes it's just gossip and just nonsensical stuff that comes up. And I'm not gonna say I don't feed into it at times. You know, sometimes, you know, folks are bored and, you know, you got all day for it. You can sit there and say, you know what, I had time. Bring the smoke, bring the beef, bring the fire. But where does it go? I mean, when we fight and war with each other, when we, you know, gossip and hate each other, I mean, where does it lead to? You know, but more just, you know, conflict and barbarism and war and destruction, you know. And I don't think that we live this life for that. I don't think this world was created for people to just be in conflict, to be in strife, to be in hatred, to be, you know, in negativity, you know, especially online. You know, some of the things that I see here online is just crazy, you know. People create fake accounts and hack into each other's stuff and create pages and, you know, troll each other and do all kind of crazy stuff. And you say, well, wow, was this technology and this platform created for people to go at each other and just tear each other down and whatnot, you know? And, you know, it's like an old timer told me, you know, it is in the nature of man to abuse his resources. And a lot of times we abuse our resources. You know, we abuse each other. You know, we abuse this planet. You know, we take things for granted. We probably litter too much. You know, probably curse too much and drink too much and smoke too much and, you know, just overindulge in things. And it hurts us, you know, as a society, as a humanity. Simply Beautiful on a budget. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just talking about the important things, you know, in life, you know, just how we treat each other, you know, caring for our communities and stuff like that, you know, just, you know, trying to understand each other, trying to be peaceable, trying to, I don't know, just come to some kind of, you know, consensus or be peaceable or agreeable, you know, to, you know, upholding life, pushing humanity forward, you know, not being so caught up in negativity. But the reality is that in society, a lot of times, you know, there are people in mankind that love darkness. There are people that like to be towards the negativity. There's people, just like there's people that wake up each day and they look to do positive things. There's people that look to do negative things. Beautiful, or Simply Beautiful. We do need to love each other, but unfortunately, that's not how everybody feels. It's not what everybody wants, you know. Absolutely miss lovely company and also hurt people. Yeah. Misery does love company, you know, and people, you know, do love hurting each other, and it's sad because that's not what we were put here for. I don't believe that as humanity we were put on this planet to hurt and kill and destroy each other and tear each other down. We could disagree, of course we could disagree, you know, but some of the things that I'm just seeing out in this world is just, it's crazy, man. You know, it's just, it's like, wow, you know, as a human being, you know, how do you just decide that you want to take somebody else's life, especially if they ain't do nothing to you? Sometimes people hate folks just merely for existing. Sometimes people hate you because you are who you are. You may have a positive disposition, or you may have a certain light in you that people just want to snuff out. And it's sad, because it's not something that's going away. People may hate you because of the color of your skin. You know what I'm saying? They may hate you from the background that you come from. They may hate you because of the family that you're part of, the country that you come from, the religion, the sexual orientation. And it's like, really? That's insane. Simply beautiful. What are you saying? You're saying, definitely not why we were put here. Nah, I mean, we weren't put here to kill each other. I mean, and I challenge anybody to debate that point, that we were put on this planet to kill and hurt and maim and destroy each other. Then what's the point? If we were put here to be negative and kill each other and break each other down and tear each other down, then what's the point of building things up? What's the point of living in a civil society, or trying to live a civil society? There's more. There's more to this life than just the negativity. There's more to this life than just the corruption. There's more to this life than just, differences, that we have with each other that cause us to come at each other in a negative way. We lose sight of the important things because of jealousy and envy and hatred and vanity and greed and stuff like that. And we don't see it sometimes until it's too late. But history has shown us, what's happened through world wars and civil disputes, and it's just negligence on wide scales. And it's sad that sometimes as humanity, it takes a tragedy for us to learn. Sometimes we don't learn until it's too late. And then there's the whole thing with liberties being taken away. Once things go too far, then you have, those in power who decide now you want to take certain liberties away, and you want to punish the people who are at the lower end of the spectrum because you're not sure of what's what. And a lot of times, I think we do a disservice as trying to control each other as humanity, as opposed to trying to control our own emotions and how we deal with each other. People are quick to try to control each other as opposed to trying to control themselves and how they see things, and not getting overly emotional, and overly negative about things. Like I said, of course it's okay to disagree. It's okay to feel strongly about where you come from and what side you stand on with an issue. Why not? It's okay to even be mad at a couple of times, but taking lives, being negative, tearing folks down, being divisive and just negligent and ignorant towards people and humanity as a whole, it's senseless. Senseless. It doesn't take us anywhere. If anything, it destroys us as a humanity. It destroys the planet. It destroys any society, civilly or otherwise, that we try to create. Sometimes you wonder what goes through the mind of people, when they just, hateful, vengeful and whatnot. This is not a rant. It's not a rant. I don't want anybody to think this is a rant. It's more stream of consciousness, more thought, more just me thinking, just relating, having a conversation, talking. Not everybody has to agree. Not everybody has to watch. I'm totally okay with that. But I just wonder sometimes when I look into society. Are we focused on the more important things? Caring for our community, caring for our planet. How we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, the food that we eat, the thoughts that we take in, like the real important things. Sometimes we're so caught up in celebrity gossip and the latest sporting event or the latest technology. What's up, Krim? That we just fail to realize sometimes, just what's important in life. I think some of the most important things, or one of the most important things in life, is how we treat each other. That affects the generations to come. If I treat you negatively and we treat each other negatively, and people see that, the children see that, the future generations see that, and that becomes the norm of society, how we deal, then that becomes okay, and it destroys society. Like, to me, the mass shootings and things, I'm not okay with that. I don't know about you out there. I don't know if folks care. I don't know if it's a situation to you where you don't want to deal with it. Maybe it's too much for you. Me personally, even if there's nothing that I can do about it, or if I don't have the power to change it or influence it, I'm still not okay with mass shootings and mass killings. I have a problem with the fact that, this is becoming more common. It's becoming more common to text, thoughts and prayers with the family, thoughts and prayers with the family. I feel like it's on a constant loop. Maybe I should just copy and paste thoughts and prayers with the family. Maybe I should just do a recording and wait for the next shooting. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with, how divisive and hateful that people are to each other in humanity. We don't always have to agree on every issue. You don't have to be on my side. You don't have to agree for agreement's sake. You don't owe me an apology. You don't have to be my friend. You don't have to like me. But my thing, at best, at the least, or whatever, we should treat each other civilly. We should be able to be peaceable with each other. And I think a lot of times in society we've forgotten that. I mean, because like I said, you could go to the Middle East, you could go to the Far East, you could go to other parts of the world, even parts of this country in the United States, and see all types of violence, gang violence, sectarian violence, political struggle. I mean, the world, whether you want to believe it or not, is becoming more of a hateful place. It's becoming more of a place that I can't recognize when I look up and I see out into the world. I don't recognize this place. I'm seeing it where people are so quick to have a dispute with each other as opposed to coming together. Because I guarantee you, if I got on this darn YouTube or this internet or into this world, I could find a fight quicker than I could find a peaceable situation. I could find somebody out there quicker to hate me than I could to love me. And it's sad. Yeah, there's a lot of betrayal out there, Krim. There's a lot of betrayal, And I think we betray ourselves as a humanity, how we treat each other. I mean, if we're judged by anything, I think we're judged by how we treat other people. Because obviously you're going to treat yourself the way you want to treat yourselves or the people that you care about. But I think we're judged on how we treat those people that, probably matter the least in society, or people that don't owe us anything. You can find out a lot about a person by how they treat you when there's nothing they can get from you, or they don't need you for something, or they don't have to use you for anything. You'll find out a lot about a person when they don't really need anything from you. You'll know how much they actually care about you, and that's just what it is, But like I said, I'm just focusing on what's important in life. I mean, how we treat each other is important because it determines where the future of humanity goes. It determines a society and its morality, its lack of morality, its structure, its justice, its decency. If we let it slip, if you let it deteriorate, don't be surprised at what you see in the future. I say that to anybody out there. If you turn a blind eye, if you say nothing about it, if you do nothing about it, if you sit to the side hoping that somebody else is going to fix it, don't be surprised when your children and your children's children have a worse world that they have before them. If you pollute the planet, if you don't take care of it, if you're just negative and divisive towards the earth, not appreciative of your household, of your community, of where you come from, then don't be surprised that things are not as great 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years from now, But yeah, well, I tell you one thing about that, Krim. I ain't going to Mars. Actually, I wanted to do a live stream about that. I know one thing. I ain't going to no Mars. It's like, I'm glad you brought that up, Krim. I'm going to tell you like this. To those people that want to go to Mars, you can go up there and you can have you a nice old time. Because guess what? We already live on this planet and we have enough craziness and whatnot. We have a problem with justice on this planet. And I say that as a black man in America. So you go up there to Mars and you go up there with no justice system, no structure, no decency, and all the vileness that's in mankind. You have a good time. You have a good time going up there and seeing how that's going to work out. Now, who knows? They may work it out, but I'm not going up there for no wars in space or no Star Wars. I'm good. I'm good. I have no problem dying on this planet. Just as large as unbalanced, even on YouTube at their life. Yeah. So like I was saying, Krim, if you could imagine how unbalanced and unjust it is on you or YouTube, you could imagine up there. Now I wouldn't mind live streaming up there, but I'll go up there, live stream on Mars, and I'm out. I'm not going up there to live. Oh man, listen, as crazy as humanity is, as crazy as negative as we can be sometimes, the last thing I want to do is to be on another planet with folks that haven't figured out what to do on Earth. We haven't figured out how to live with each other peaceably on Earth. I am not going to Mars to live with negative folks. There may be some positive people out there and whatnot that want to go up there. Hooray and kudos to you. Like I said, I'll send you a postcard from the planet Earth. I'm good, you know. I think it's things we need to figure out on this planet. Because we still got issues with the justice system, with racism, with inequality, with homophobia, xenophobia. I mean, all types of issues, classism, you know, all kind of things going on. Go to Mars, man, listen. I'll go there, take a couple of pictures, live stream it, throw it on Facebook or YouTube or something, or Twitter, and then I'm out. That'd be the quickest trip I ever took. But yeah, you know, we have a lot of issues on this planet that we need to just, you know, deal with and get together. But I'm not trying to be depressing towards anybody on this live stream. This is just really maybe a stream of consciousness live stream about how we treat each other. I think that's what's important. Just warning you, my latest is a bit saucy and disliked. Well, Krim, I'm gonna say this to you about your videos, man. Listen, you got some saucy videos, man. You know, you got some crazy stuff, but I judge not. I try not to judge not. You know, at the end of the day, man, you know, it is what it is. You know, we need to be able to live peaceably with each other and see each other on different sides, even if we don't always agree. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So I'm gonna check out your video, Krim, and for better or worse, man, you know, I'm just gonna go into it with an open mind. Just as we should go into each day, I think, with an open mind. We're not always gonna agree on everything. We're not always gonna stand on the same side of every issue that comes up. You know, but the reality is, this is the only world we got. This is the only life that we live in right now. Unless you live in another life somewhere, you know, on an alternate planet. This is all we have. You know, this is what's going on. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, it's all good, Krim. I hear you on that. I'm gonna check you out on that, definitely. You know, but you know, like I said, this is the only planet we have. This is the only life that we live. You know, be mindful for anybody that has children out there, for anybody that has loved ones, for anybody that has younger folks in their family. Be mindful of how you treat people. Be mindful of what you do when you put out into this world, because the kids see it. You know, especially now, you know, these kids are a lot smarter than what we were. You know, a lot of us coming up, you know, in the younger days when we didn't have, you know, internet and cell phones and computers like that. For those that are old like that, you know, and even some of the younger ones coming up now. You know, be mindful of what you put out into the world, because these children, these babies are watching, man. You know, that's why when I get on, you know, my live streams and I'm on my content, I try not to get too raunchy with it, because I got my nieces and nephews watching. Got my younger cousins watching. I got people who are really, you know, into what I'm doing, you know, even if they don't always comment, you know. But the thing is, you know, be mindful of what you put out into this earth. You know, be mindful of how you treat people. You know, be mindful of how you know, you treat your family. You know, the society, the example that you set, because that too is going to affect the future. You know, I mean, everything matters as far as, you know, like I said, your interactions with people. You know, you never know the influence and how it may work, you know, as it pertains to the future. You may never know the impact that you have on a young mind, you know, be it for negative, for positive. You know, it matters, you know, how you conduct yourself, how you interact. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying you have to be, you know, a quiet boy or a quiet girl or whoever. You got to be, you know, pure. No. But just be mindful, be aware of the effects of how we treat people, of how you treat people, you know, in this society, in this world. Because the kids are watching, the future is watching. And they take the cues from what we lay down now, the groundwork we lay now. If it's an immoral society that we lay down now, the groundworks of the foundation for it, then it'll be an immoral society. Because there's no coincidence with these mass shootings. There's no coincidence with these atrocities that happen. There's no coincidence that these things are happening. If there's a breakdown in the morality in society, with civility, the peaceableness, and what we call decency, then it'll be passed on through the generations, almost like a generational curse. These things are not coincidences when they happen. People have a lot of vengefulness and hatefulness in their heart. Things that festered, things that they were taught, things that were nurtured, things that were provoked. And guess what? Sometimes folks are just waiting for the opportunity to strike, because there'll be another atrocity that happens, you know? Crimson Fantasy, yeah, I do have censorship with the stream channels, but yeah, as far as that goes, Crim, I'm not saying don't be yourself. I'm not saying don't express yourself. I'm not saying don't, you know, do some things here, there that are edgy and whatnot. But just be mindful of who you are affecting. You know, be mindful of who you're influencing. You know, let people know that there's a difference between, you know, the reality of it and then the fantasy side, your Crimson Fantasy. Why not? You know, let people know that there's a consequences and repercussions to certain things. And I think a lot of times we go in life and we act as if you can just do things based off of emotion and it doesn't matter, and there's no consequences, there's no repercussions, there's no scale of justice, there's no wins and no losses, there's nothing that happens. And that's not the truth. It's not something that where you go out in society and one thing doesn't touch another. Everything touches everything. Even this live stream, you know, may affect or influence somebody in some way, be it a negative, be it a positive way. I have to be cognizant of that. Just like when people have these channels, these platforms and stuff like that. You may be on there doing some things on your channel, on your platform, that you think are just for fun. That's not going to affect nobody. But it does. It's somebody you least expect. It's like a domino effect. You're right, Krim. And I'm not saying don't be who you are. I'm not saying don't do something edgy or racy or whatnot. But that's why you see you have the parental disclaimers, or that's why you tell people, you know what, there's an age-appropriate thing. You give people warnings. You let people know these things have consequences to them. You let people know that, look, this is not for everybody. Like one of my favorite channels of the guys that I like the most on here is Dark Matter. If anybody checked out Dark Matter, he tells people, look, if this content isn't for you, then maybe you need to click off and go your way or do certain things. You give people the warning. You let people know that there's a difference, that this matters, you know, that you know that maybe this is not for you, that there are consequences, there are different things going on. And I think too many times people just do things and don't think about how it affects other people. You know, I mean, I'm not saying you should sit there and be worried about what everybody is going to say and judgmental and whatnot. But no, you should be cognizant of how what you're doing affects society, your community, everything as a whole. And I think too many people are just like ignorant of that and choose not to be, you know, in tune with that. And you can do that. But here's the problem. Those same people turn around and want to ask the question, why is society so messed up, so screwed up? Why are things, you know, so far gone? Why is it so immoral? And the reality is sometimes the reason it's immoral is to the wayside. It's because there's things that we've done to make it worse. And we haven't paid attention to what we were doing. Let me see what you said, Krim. My latest explicit titles and the channels is uplifting. And it says series. Yeah, well, no, I mean, if you're going to talk about sex, you know, or anything like that, is a way to do it. I mean, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I mean, I've talked about sex on here. I've talked about, you know, different subject matter, you know, like I said, things that come up and whatnot. It's how you do it. It's I mean, you can talk about, you know, very sensitive and racy topics and subjects. And, you know, there used to be a time, at least when I was growing up, where people said and did racy things, but it was still in a tasteful manner. You know, it was still in a way where, okay, even if you're gonna get raunchy with it, you know, at least put the women and children or to bed, or not the women and children, but at least put the children to bed, or at least give people the warning and whatnot of when it's gonna come. You know, yeah, yeah, I got you on that, Krim. I mean, I think in a society that we live in now, everything is just, you can get as nasty as you want, you can get as free as you want. You don't have to have any filter. You don't have to have any guidelines. And don't get me wrong, there are places for that. You know, there's situations for that. But the problem I have with people getting just as racy and as nasty and as freaky as they want is that folks is not protecting the children. You put these things out there, these platforms and these things out there, and you make it easier not just for the adults to do it and get involved and whatnot to it. You make it easy for the kids to get access to it. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just go look into your child's smartphone. You know, just see how easy it is for them to access questionable material on any site. I mean, how do you have parental guidance on a situation when your child has a cell phone in the corner and they're doing all kind of stuff that you don't even know about or aware of? You know, so we live in a society where, you know, there isn't that guidance, there isn't that oversight, there isn't that teaching, and it's crazy. It's true for yeah, exactly. You found a video on how to make you know, bombs with a toy car, and think about that. You know, you're a decent person, Krim, so you're not looking to do any nefarious things, but you take an impressionable young mind, and then now all of a sudden you have a situation where, you know, they do that, and now they're being watched by all government agencies and whatnot, or maybe they're being influenced by somebody who's a online terrorist. I don't really know too much about them, you know. And now you have a situation where there's no real guidance, or, you know, people are being lost and led astray, and it's so much stuff out here that people don't pay attention to and think about, that, you know, it could just really mess up these young minds out there. And people think it doesn't mean anything, you know, is when they do whatever it is they do, and they can get as nasty and as freaky and as violent and as negative as they want. And it matters, because, like I said, the children are watching. I'm not here to try to make anybody conservative or judge anybody or be pure, but I say be mindful of the children. Be mindful of how raunchy and how negative and how divisive you're getting, because the children are watching. And what happens is that the next generation becomes even worse and worse. The basement demographics have kids, but yeah, well, I say this, Krim. I mean, be it somebody from 18 to 35 or 60 or whatever, whoever you influence, right? I'll say to anybody, whatever your audience is, right? If your audience is 18 to 35 or 60 or whoever, if I influence an 18 to 35-year-old or 60-year-old or somebody, and they're excited about my work, I don't know who they're influencing. I don't know who they're talking to, because they may be talking to somebody and they may have a younger audience and stuff like that coming. And some people say, all right, you know, you should just let the children hear and see whatever, it doesn't matter. My thing is, when you let the children see and hear whatever and it doesn't matter, without telling them the consequences and repercussions, you do them a disservice. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that people don't be who you are, but be mindful of how you affect future generations. Be mindful of how you affect people who, you know, just are just differently. You know, people who are just trying not to be influenced by that. You know, think about what you're putting into the world. Think about whether or not if it's making it a better place. If you're giving people negativity, if you're giving people, you know, positive, you know, the lightness, the dark, whatever it may be, you know, because you're only doing one or two things with this content. I'll say it to anybody out there, even if you're entertaining or not. There's only one or two things that's going to happen with this content that's put online, or what you do in the world a lot of times. Either you're going to build people up, or you're going to destroy them. That's it. That's it. You know, I mean, don't be too mad. Don't be too hard on yourself, Krim. I mean, I get it. You know, I mean, people like to think that, you know, maybe it's just for fun. Things are just for fun, just for entertainment sometimes. If you go to the core of what you're doing, you're only doing one or two things. You're either building people up or breaking them down. That's it. Building them up, breaking them down. With whatever you do, whatever you say, however you know, maneuver. You know, it could be in an entertaining way, in a fun way. It could be in a negative way, in a positive way, or whatever the case may be, in a serious way. But these are the one or two things that I believe that are happening. And I just say just to be mindful of it, be important, be aware of how you interact with people, be aware of what you put out there, be aware of the things you think in your mind when nobody's watching. I mean, if you're into something negative, if you're doing something negative, if you're doing something, that's not uplifting or upbuilding, I say at least be honest with yourself. Try to be honest with those people that you're sharing it with. If that's how you want to get down, if you want to do that, then that's what it is. Hey, what's up, Grim? Got Grim Reaper in the house. I'm gonna definitely check out your channel after this. But this is basically, look, I say to folks, man, just be mindful of how you treat folks, man. Be mindful of, are you treating people the way you want to be treated and whatnot. Like I said, because it matters. It matters, and then it's important for the youth, for tomorrow's generations. I mean, we want to leave the world a better place than we found it, but sometimes we don't. And I just say be mindful of that. Like I said, just those are the important things in life that I think is important. How you treat your community, how you treat the planet, how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves. And on that note, I think I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for everybody that joined into the live stream. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the commentary. Thank you for watching in the playback. And stay safe out there. Take care.